streaming. Let us see if that is working. Yes. Starting the stream, back up again. I am live. I wonder if I think because it's a new entity, it means I lost all of you. I wonder. I think because I renamed it as well, and that this chat is from the old chat. I think this is not working. Shouldn't everyone that's attached to my old one be here now, hanging out with me? But it says that there's 0 people watching, even though I'm live. Old chat is still linked. I had it popped out. Yeah. I kind of hoped that I could stop the stream and start it back up. I have 1 person watching. Hello, 1 person. I think that a lot of people are in the chat for the old stream. I think a lot of people are... Ooh, they're switching over. I don't think it worked like I wanted. And now the stream... Oh, I can see and hear you? Oh, yes. Can you all hear me? Steven, thank you very much. I'm glad you... Yes, amazing. Okay, perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. Sorry, the reason why it was super confusing is because I'm looking at my dashboard and the numbers are all weird. It basically shows that there are like 5 of you in chat, and I can see that there's more than 5 of you chatting. Like, look, I can see right now. Yes, we can. So basically the numbers haven't synced up, and so I thought that I wasn't broadcasting to any of you fine people. But that's okay. We don't need to have numbers recorded as long as you all can see me and we can hang out and talk. So, what are you guys the most excited about from this set? That's what I want to... That's what I want to figure out. I also want to take your questions and maybe like do some back and forth, like talk about some brewing options, or even if we talk about finance too. Remember, I'm not 100% finance person, but you know, I've been in this a while and I've proven myself to be pretty okay doing this. I think the selling point of the set is okay. So a lot of times big reprints or big cards carry a lot of the value for the set. So a lot of the rares in most sets are just, the prices get dropped down tremendously. And it's the big cards that carry the set. So Leyline of Sanctity and Leyline of the Void will 100% like carry a lot of the money for the set. And that's good. Because if they command a high price tag, then that means that all these other cards, like the rares in the set, will be worth nothing, you know? So the more staples we have in this set, the better off we'll be. So I think that this will automatically be a very, very solid set in terms of your wallet and turning them into commander cards. So really good question right there. And then let's talk about the support that we have here. I think that we have vampire support, wolf support, super duper Hydra support, legendary matter support, you know, dinosaur support, angel tribal support, elementals for sure. Like we've got a ton of really, really good support in this for a lot of different fringe strategies going on. And I think that that's going to be really good. Yeah, the tribal stuff is going to be just amazing in this. For sure. Let's see here. I mean, we got Minotaur pirate support right here, but man, that crab support is just strong. But by the way, you were joking about crab support, but look, we got another octopus for Whelming Wave, or whatever that card is right there. So we've got some support. We got another serpent? No, we got that fortress crab. That's just gonna chill right above me right here. It'll be great. Classic stuff right there. All right. Do you guys have any more questions about M20? Topics you want to talk about? And otherwise, we can always jump into Arena and do some crazy brewing right there. I'm telling you, Octopus Tribal or Sea Monster Tribal is totally a thing. His Royal Insanity asks, since you're making the new Legends Matters deck tech, does that mean you are not making a Sisay deck tech anymore? That is a very good question, and it's kind of true. I started a Sisay deck tech, and I just got slammed with M20 cards, and then suddenly my Sisay deck just didn't get built, and this new commander... well, it actually was a little bit more focused, and so I ended up making that deck tech instead of the other Legendary Matters deck tech. Yeah. If I had more time, or if they gave me more time, I could do it, but I don't know if I'm gonna have time to go back and do Sisay. Just like I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go back and do some of the amazing war cards that I haven't had a chance to do. So that was a good question. Any CEDH cards? I'm not the right person to ask about the CEDH cards. My counterspell could be a CEDH card right there. Negate. I can see a CEDH card right there. Negate. Reprint. CEDH. Written all over it. Honestly, I don't think so. I don't think I see a lot of CEDH cards in this set for sure. But that's a good question. Let's see here. Best time to buy Leyline of Anticipation. Very good question. You should, my common stance is that you should basically buy at key saturation. So I would say about 3 weeks after opening, the opening weekend, you should start looking at buying your staples if you want to buy them immediately. Otherwise, wait until rotation. Leyline of Anticipation will not do the dip at rotation that a lot of other standard cards do because it's not a standard card. So basically, you're going to wait 3 weeks and you're going to see it kind of get hype, and then you're going to see it kind of go down and level off a little bit. That's the time that you buy it. So as soon as it kind of dips a little bit and levels, buy them there, because that level will basically stay for a super duper long time, and it won't drop after rotation. Like something silly like this Bishop of Wings, that will 100% do weird stuff and then level off, and then after it rotates, people are going to be like, what's this card? And it's going to drop a little bit. And that's a good time to buy at rotation. But yeah, some of these cards are not doing the rotation dip, and Leyline of Anticipation will not be one of them. So that's a good question right there. The power level of M20 is strong, and it's stronger than I thought, and especially because the complexity of M20 is stronger. We have cards that have protection from. Like, protection from cards are actually a very complicated mechanic. Protection from black on an uncommon. And so the complexity level of M20 is higher than previous core sets. And so with that, they've allowed the power level to go up too, and given us a lot of different cards for sure. I think that the power level is definitely nowhere near Horizons, and War was a pretty powerful format as well. So it might not feel very powerful compared to the last 2 sets that you've drafted, but overall, this is a very strong set. Excellent question. From Kazi and Drumil and Nanut for sure. Personal opinion at the pace of set releases. So Mark Gelfo asks me about my opinion about the pace of these set releases. It's a lot. They're coming so fast. I don't have a time to play the set. I don't have time to really devote to it. I don't really know if I have the money. By the way, I just pulled a pterodactyl off of my glasses. I think I should put it back. Yeah. I don't really know if I have the time to really parse all of this information. It's just a lot. But that's me being a content creator, like kind of complaining about my hobby. Which sounds silly, right? Other content creators, it's their job, and so they really have to make these things. And yes, I kind of treat this a little bit like a second job, but you know, I have a real job and a career and stuff like that. So this is more of my hobby. So, you know, I think I need to accept the fact that if I can't just cover everything, and so I have to cover the things that I want and then move on, because I know for a fact that in August, Commander 2019 is going to be out, and I need to pay attention to that. And so there's no way I'm going to be able to give all of this the attention that I need, which stinks because it deserves a lot of attention. I also think that Wizards is very smart because they've done a great job of like basically building a hype train and then being like, nope, no stations, don't stop, keep hyping. And it's good because I am hyped. These are cool cards and I want to buy them. They're going to take a lot of my money, but it gets exhausting sometimes, and they definitely don't want to reach burnout. There's a point in time where you are spending so much money and then you suddenly feel like, ugh. Like, and this happens all the time. Like let's say you go out for a night with your friends, you know what I mean? And you're out there and you're at your first bar, club or whatever like that. And you're buying drinks and it feels great. And then after a little while, like when you reach this certain point of how much money you've spent, you suddenly like every drink turns to bitter, like ash in your mouth, and like the nicest food tastes horrible because you're just like, I'm overloaded with how much this stuff costs. And so some people might be reaching that pretty soon when it comes to this cardboard. But excellent question, Mark. Okay. Chronotogging Infinite says, you started playing EDH in 2009. Good time to play EDH. Are you excited or put off by WotC pushing 5-color legends, 5-color on legends recently? Interesting question. So this could get to a very complicated question, but like there's a lot of people that say, hey, like when Wizards makes something that's just better than everything else, it invalidates so many cards that before it. So like whenever it creates a strictly better, then a bunch of cards become invalidated and it narrows our format. But I don't think I think that that's a slightly flawed argument, because we are a format that uses inferior cards. That's just something that we do regularly. So if someone makes, for example, a Fatal Push, that becomes the black removal spell, and, you know, Victim of Night becomes unplayable anymore, even though that might be someone's style. That's not for us. You know what I mean? Like, if I pick up a commander deck that I'm playing, I have cards in there that are janky and not the most optimal decks. So the fact that they are giving us 5-color legends and opening up more options is not something I'm particularly worried about, and I actually like more building space. It's a good question. Favorite card in the set? I think my favorite card in the set has got to be... what's my favorite card in the set? Elvish Reclaimer is really good. The blue... Flood of Tears might be my favorite card in the set. The white Bring Back thing might be my favorite card in the set. Brought Back might be my favorite card in the set. So definitely a few of them that I definitely like a lot. Some people are asking for me to get on Arena so that I can play some of that. Let's see here. Oh, Veil of Summer is the EDH card. Let's look at Veil of Summer right there. How about Virtuous the Veil now? Wait, where's Veil of Summer? Am I like, oh, there it is. Veil of Summer. Ooh. Yeah, Veil of Summer might be a CDH card. Good call. Okay. Let's go back to actually previews right there. Aaron Mitchell says, I'm curious what angels you think would be good in this set for a Morphon commander deck. Honestly, almost all of the angels. I actually think that being able to curve out your angels, so Angel of Vitality would be really good. I think that Bishop of Wings is going to be really solid from this set. And then even the flyer angel, like in an angel tribal, Safara Sky's Blade, that's going to be a good angel too. So this actually has a lot of potential in terms of angels. And then I would not include, I know that Kalia draws you a card, but is not an angel. So nah, I'm going to skip on that one for sure. But good question, Aaron. Favorite new legendary of the set. My favorite new legendary of the set, it might be because I just wrote about it, but Kethis, the Hidden Hand. I love the way that deck is put together, and so hope you do too. Second is probably Golos, because I like Lands Matters decks for sure. Okay. Do we know what tribes are mainly being supported in 2020? I do not, but that would be cool. Sorry, 3 weeks post-release or 3 weeks from pre-release? 3 weeks post-release, because release day is when all the stores, I know the stores like crack their boxes early and get all their inventory, but really that release day is where there's a flood of cards in. So 3 weeks after that release day. And you can also look at charts to kind of see how that's going. Good call. WotC Mark Jofo says, I think WotC undervalues the value of complex cards and core sets. I think they do, and I think that's why core sets were really boring at times before, and this seems to be a little bit more of an interesting set because of it. I know, right? Oh, I got nice things from you fine people. Thank you. Off subject, Jumbo. If I send you a card and return postage, would you send it back? I would send it back, but I might even sign it for you too. Yeah, if you email me, Stephen Newman, if you email me, then I will send you something. And that would be very, very cool. I would be very happy with that. Gamebox says, hey, Jumbo Commander, I'm trying to build a deck that's different, like your Kiri Timna or Josh's Tim deck. Those are both examples of very cool and different decks. Do you have any recommendations for places to look for inspiration? That's a good question. What I would do is I would look at single cards that you want for inspiration. So, for example, Josh's Tim deck, he looked at Tim, like one card, and said, that is what I want to build around. That's the mechanic I want to do. And then that led him down a cool path, and that path turned into an entire deck. And then, for example, a lot of us do this when it comes to a commander. Tim is very cool because it's not a commander, and so it gives him a little bit of a different angle to go around. But if you find a commander, then you can sort of build rec around that too. So I have a lot of decks that are a little bit weird, a little bit janky, and they're built around the cool commander. But you can pick any card, honestly. So I would start off with like your favorite card, and then try to start brainstorming or doing searches by that. Honestly, Scryfall searches are your best. So, for example, if we go up to, I'm going to click on this thing. If you click on advanced search and you are interested in some sort of deck, let's say that, for example, that new card that steals something was the thing. So let's do gain control. So for example, you want that blue card that gains control of something. So you could literally type in gain control and search, and then suddenly you're going to get a several hundred. 877 is a lot, but then you suddenly have this you have this list of cards that you can kind of go through and say, well, is this, like, if I'm making an Agent of Treachery deck, like, can I come up with things that really gain control? And then you're like, oh wait, I don't actually really like Active Aggression. I like Sudden. See, gaining control of creatures is fine, but I really like, oh no, what's the thing that gains control of a permanent? Well, anyways, there's Zealous Conscripts that does it too. You're like, wow, I really like, and by the way, this is something that I really like. I really like the idea of stealing their permanents for a turn, or stealing their permanents that are really valuable. So Zealous Conscripts is super fun in my mind because, you know, you're going to steal their Planeswalker and minus it or ultimate or something like that. So this could lead you down a path of like blue, red, steel, blinky stuff, and then suddenly you're making a really, really unique deck that, you know, other people wouldn't have thought of. So that's just kind of a way to sort of approach it. His Royal Insanity. So what am I hearing is pay you $100 billion, Dr. Evil Pose, to make a deck tech. I'm a person. I'm a flawed human being, and thus so I can be bribed for sure. So, what do you think Patreon is if not like a subscription bribery service? No, I've actually been bribed many times in the course of my work, unsuccessfully. I like to think of myself as an honest person, but in this case, no. Like, I'm willing to. If someone were to come up to me and be like, "Look, I really need this Sisay deck. Like, I'm gonna commission you to make a Sisay deck for me," I would be like, "Yes, I can be properly commissioned. Good job." Devin Anderson says, advice for being less spiky. I actually am a big fan of being less spiky and tuning your decks like that. Josh, we've talked about this on the command zone before. Josh really dislikes tuning decks down. I think tuning decks down is very fun. And the reason why I think it's fun is because you can take your curve or take your consistency and mess with it. So let's say, for example, you have an amazing like blue deck, you know, it's a mono blue deck and it's like mono blue flyers or something like that. And it's winning a lot of games. And you're like, all right, well, I gotta power down my deck a little bit. Throw in a Tesmis the All-Seeing, like, instead of, you know, a much more powerful card. And now you're playing with a more fun card, even though it's lower power level, and still, like, you're bringing up crazy cards and interesting levels of complexity. So try to make your curve a little bit higher, try to lower your consistency, and try and put in cards that might not be as good, but maybe have a lot more play to them, a lot more power. Because, you know, Artemis right here can just win the game. It can be very powerful, but it's definitely way less consistent than a lot of other cards. Good question. Okay. How can I earn your lifelink or background code? Anyone that signs up for Patreon at any level will have access to the background code. Good question. Do I have a favorite planeswalker? I traditionally have not been in love with planeswalkers, but 4-mana Karn has been a planeswalker that I have just fallen in love with. Oh my gosh. The reason why is because the reason why I love 4-mana Karn is because the Karn structs that he makes. I think Karn structs are so much fun, and that's the reason why I play Urza, even though Urza is so powerful, but I really like Karn structs, so 4-mana Karn is really great. Who's it, DJ? I believe that I am the DJ that they are talking to. My name is DJ, and I run the Jumbo Commander YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. Question. His Royal Insanity wanted to ask, is that I love janky decks. I do, in fact, love janky decks. Where the minions are just annoying or hard to kill. Do you know what I do have is in the works? Is I have a deck that is very difficult to interact with. I am currently working on a Progenitus deck, which is 5-color protection from stuff. And so literally in front of me, I have a bunch of swords. I have a bunch of like Spectro Ward right here. I have True Name Nemesis. I have Sabu Tavak right here, protection from legends. I have Glory right here that can give protection from the graveyard. Of course, I got Mom in here for sure. Mom's great. I even got Teysa Karlov that has protection from creatures. Of course, a Chameleon Changeling, protection from black. Stormbreath Dragon, protection from white. Story Circle, you get to choose a card and get protection from it. Even Masked Gorgon right here, which gives your opponents protection from Gorgons. So yes, my goal for this deck is to try and... also, we definitely need Sephi's Tiger that can Tiger in and definitely like take out a creature or give protection from a creature. Ruined Halo. So the point of this deck is basically to give protection from stuff, but basically be really difficult to interact with. And so Progenitus and then Hex Drinker was the card that actually gave me the idea of like, let's just make something with gross protection. to basically, and then this set came out, Magic 2020 came out, and I'm like, oh, there's more stuff for my deck. Yes. All right. So that's the annoying, hard to kill deck that I have, his Royal Insanity. And I should probably, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip down a little bit. I'm going to read fast and skip down. And if I miss your question, I'm sorry. His Royal Insanity, yes, I agree with that. Gorodos. Goros, I like Goros a lot. Kethis is awesome. Let's keep going. Sorry if I'm going fast through some people's questions. What is your favorite card to sign? I'm going to be signing a lot of generous gifts because it's got elephant gifts on it. So that might be a good one. Laboratory Maniacs, you guys make content, and I'm super happy to hang out with you. Getting to learn all the syntax from Scryfall makes these searches a lot easier. Using O gains control, gives you the same results as adding, yep, all that good stuff. So Lab Maniacs, they make great content, and they know how to use all of these amazing tools, so you should listen to them. Scryfall does great searches. Bribed in the course of your work? What do you do? Do you work for the government? Mark, no, I work in education. And sometimes when you are in charge of kids' grades and transcripts and stuff like that, and helping them get into college, some overzealous parents might feel the need to try and give their kid an advantage, perhaps. And this shouldn't surprise you because literally it's in the news where everyone's trying everything to get by. But one thing that's really good is that no, I've not actually taken bribes from parents, and it's not something I am entirely interested in at all. But in my YouTube life, I can certainly be bought and bribed. Do you take arena challenges? I used to really be looking for singleton challenges so I could play singleton. I don't have time to play much arena recently. I mean, for example, I have access to the VIP like thingy right now. Like I could be playing Core 2020 for free, and I'm not doing it. Actually, I'm enjoying my time here more, hanging out with all of you. And you guys could be watching arena right now too. You could be watching like famous people stream, and you're watching me. Talk about Commander, actually. Part of me is like, I have this day free to talk about it. And the other part is like, where are all the Commander fans going to go when everyone's streaming M20 and doing crazy stuff about that? All right. Sorry if I am scrolling past your question, but I need to kind of like keep up a little bit. So if I did not answer your question, feel free to ask it again. What cards from M20 do you want foil? All of them. I am a sucker for foil cards, and so anything that goes into a deck, like I'm going to need to get it foil or altered or something like that. The cards that I definitely need foiled are Agent of Treachery, and I'm going to need a few of these Flood of Tears because that's going in my Braids deck. And my Braids deck is already pretty, so I can't put in like basic cards in there. And then I also have a lands deck that's really that I like a lot, and so Elvish Reclaimer will definitely need to get in there and get foil. And then along with that, I'll also need a foil Lotus thingy, Lotus Field and Field of the Dead, which means that this is now going to be like another couple $100, which drives me crazy. Wizards making things I love and need to buy. New altars recently. Let's see. Oh, I just put my altars away over there. Yes, I did get some altars, and then I have some altars right now that are sent out that people are investigating and messing with and stuff like that. I'll share them on Twitter later or something like that. But good question. I love talking about altars. Bribe you with magic cards. I mean, obviously, it's what I would spend the money on anyway, so that makes sense. Where can we find your email? And fill it with spam of lonely girls in your area? Seriously. Yeah, I suddenly just start getting subscriptions to everything, and obviously like prescription drugs sent to my doorstep. My email is jumbocommander@gmail.com. I tutor for the SATs on the side and have had parents try to bribe me for their kids' scores. I used to tutor for the SAT for many, many, many years, for like 15 or 20 years. I used to do SAT tutoring, and I also had parents be very crazy aggressive about that too. And so, yeah, people don't understand how the world works. And so they actually, no, that's the lie. They do understand how the world works. And sadly, the world works very well if you have money and can throw money at things. So actually, yeah, they've actually gone through life pretty successfully by answering the problems with money. Okay. Former economics professor walked the class through why they never took bribes as a teacher. I personally just, thought that it wasn't actually, it's probably not good for your career or anything like that either. But also I just think it's wrong. And actually the problem is that like I have this moral compass that that doesn't really, I care about like all the other kids, because like I have a caseload of all these other kids. And if I'm looking out after all of the kids, like why am I going to give one kid an advantage just because they have more money? It like makes me feel super gross. And so it's because I like really care about like my entire caseload or all the kids that I have, that I would never want to put one above another. It just drives me crazy. Okay. They say they are watching a famous person stream. My wife calls me nerd famous, which, do you know what? I take as a compliment. The Taysa Karlov video. Oh man, Taysa is so good. I'm glad you're liking it too. Well, thank you. You guys are making me feel good about all this other stuff. Short version, briber would need to fund most of the rest of the teacher's life in retirement. I mean, a big enough bribe like that? Nah, maybe. No, because the people, like the college scandal where they're like faking being on the rowing team to get into USC and stuff like that. Like they did not pay those people enough money, and now there's people going to jail. So no, bribing is, yeah. We're not even talking about magic cards anymore. I want Command Zone Token Series 2 with the token of DJ as a bear. I do like bear. I like elephants too, but I do like bears as well. But wouldn't Graham be a good bear? Like he has Bear Force 1. He played it on game nights. He would be a beautiful bear as well. But if Graham turned it down, then I would 100% be a bear. Ooh, Cavalier of Dawn. Let's go check and see how beautiful of a foil that is. I actually think all the Cavaliers would be a gorgeous, gorgeous foil. Let's go to the other Cavaliers too. I have a feeling that they would all be amazing foils. Yeah, look at this. This blue right here would be great foil. No, black actually would be less impressive, but still really cool because there'd be these cool blue highlights. The green one, I remember. Green cards have the cutest pets and just beautiful foils too. I like the way that one looks too, for sure. Kazi Shawnee says, I appreciate you, DJ. I appreciate you back and all of you for coming and hanging out with me. It makes me feel very nice. And okay, one, you are nerd famous. Two, you need to be something like social work. You're too nice. Thank you. Email for inquiries. Again, I'll say it again. It is jumbocommander@gmail.com. Do you have advice on budget building for Yisan? Yisan, the Wandering Bard. The problem with Yisan is that Yisan, like, if you build it the best, it's like, boom, super duper good. If you build a budget version, it doesn't quite hit all the points. Like it just kind of struggles a little bit. And people will think it's the more difficult version, like it's the more complex version. So you have to, Seth, you have to figure out whether you want the competitive ESON or whether you just like the value of searching. And if you like the value of searching, then you might want to think about a different commander, or go really, really budget so that people know you're not trying to imitate that super fast deck and hate you out immediately. Can I link you to my Magic the Gathering group on Facebook? Been trying to get more of the awesome content creators like yourself in there. I don't actually, so I like this, where I'm like literally talking to you guys and I like talking to actual people. I don't like social media that much. In fact, I don't go on. I used to go on my own Facebook once a year on my birthday to say thank you to the people that wish me happy birthday. And I forgot 3 years ago and haven't been on since. So the fact that I do some social media with Jumbo Commander, it's like, it feels kind of like a job to me, unless I'm like answering DMs or like specifically like talking to people and like this stuff, like real interaction with people live. Like I like this stuff. And so the idea of me getting on Facebook and no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to get back on Facebook. So, Obi, I love you. But no, I don't want to go to Facebook. Dr. Hunter Plays says, you want to thank you for helping me get into Commander with your CDC deck tech. You're welcome. I like CDC and I'm glad that you are back into Commander. And yeah, people are calling out Graham being just an amazing bear. Bear Force 1. When DJ keeps skipping your question, what is your opinion on making Kaikar artifacts? Kaikar artifacts! Kaikar artifacts! Let me think. So I'm trying to think of, because I have a Mardu artifacts deck that does black instead of blue. And honestly, blue is better than black when it comes to artifacts. So Kaikar, in terms of colors, would be better than that. Yeah, it's actually going to be surprisingly good. Like Kaikar artifacts would be very, very good. Yeah, you could totally make that deck and it'd be great. Ashlyn is like a scion. Stifle the Lotus Field. Jumbo, definitely an elephant. Elephant token. Commander questions. When do you think we'll get a good chunk of dinos in a set again? I think that they're going to trickle in dinos a little bit, and we've got a few of them, but we're not going to get a new group of dinosaurs until we go back to Ixalan. So it's actually going to be a long time before we get a huge influx. I do not think we will get a bunch of dinosaurs, like new elder dinosaurs, until we go back to Ixalan, or until it's been so long they throw a commander deck at us or a special set at us. So sorry about that. Yeah, a lot of they've been stepping it up on the art for sure. I've Modern Horizons have had crazy art and it's been really, really good. Craterhoof. Craterhoof is a win, is definitely a card where like you win the game for sure. Yeah, people are like people are also hating on Facebook. No, here's the thing. It all depends on who you are and what you are. Like, for example, like I know younger people that like hate Facebook, but they're like, no, I like love Snapchat because their friends are on Snapchat. My friends are not on Facebook. The people from high school and the people from college that I don't really know that well, they're on Facebook. You all are like right here. So that's who I need to interact with. And then like my other real friends, like they text me. So you like hanging out wherever your friends are, wherever the cool people are. And unfortunately, it's just people from college and high school that are in my Facebook feed and not like my real friends. Ooh, good dog question. My dog's names. I have 2 girl dogs. One of them is named Paisley, and she's a golden retriever. And I have a black lab named Polka. So it's Polka and Paisley. I also have 2 very large overweight cats that are brothers, and they are named Waldo and Baloo. So that is my menagerie of animals in my house. I don't actually own any elemental stags or any gigantic lobsters or, any of those other things. But I do love animals very much, which is why I pick them all the time. My thought was the best chance to get core set since they aren't focused on a plane. Oh, the World Tracer was talking about dinosaurs kind of being thrown in in the core set. Yeah, they'll definitely be able to make mention of things like dinosaurs. Definitely make mention of things like the things on Theros. Let's look at this dinosaur. It's great. When you're in core sets, because there isn't a plane specifically, it can be from all over the place. Like when we go to Kaldheim or whatever in the fall, there will not be dinosaurs there. All right. What set do you want Wizard to return to the most? Lorwyn. I'm going to go with Lorwyn. Actually, let's go back to let's do I really like artifacts, and I have 2 artifact decks too. So let's either go back to Kaladesh or let's go mess around with the Phyrexians again, and then maybe we can get Infect back again. That seems really good too. Oh, smiley face. I skipped over your question, but it's a really good question. Why do you make such expensive decks? It's hard to watch a deck and see 75% of the cards unplayable for me. That's a good question. What I want to do is, what I try to do is make decks of different levels. And so one thing about being a brewer is that I want to pick the card that fits the theme the best and not think about budget as much. But that's not for everyone. So what I should do as well is balance that out with other cards that do have budget. Also, there are other people in our space, my space, like Commander Quarters and Commander's Brew, that do a really good job of doing budget stuff. And also Wedge and the Professor, they also will dip into budget every so often too. And so I feel like my audience appreciates the budget when I do it, but doesn't really need it because there is some realm of that budget thing in the area. But honestly, I've had so many different stuff coming at me, like so many different spoilers, like always cards. I felt like I haven't had the opportunity to go back and really make a budget stuff. Also, the budget stuff that the budget videos that do really well, they have this crazy price tag on them. And I feel like there's a tension here because a lot of the staples that I used to use in those budget decks, they've actually moved beyond the budget. Like Wayfarer's Bauble is a really good example. That used to be like a 10-cent card that was like, this is a good card and it belongs in these decks, include it. In my budget videos, I really dislike throwing cards in there that I feel just aren't good. Like this Silverback Shaman. Guaranteed it'll be 5 cents, but if I put this in a deck, I don't think it'll be good. I don't want it in there and I wouldn't recommend it to you. And so it becomes a definite push and pull about getting that number that people really grab onto and that generate a lot of views that people are excited about, but then also not including jank. And I feel that sometimes when people are pushing the realm of getting those budget videos, they're including jank. And then sometimes when I say I'm doing a really budget video, it's for $50, it doesn't really capture that budget crowd. And so I don't get the views I want either. So there's a lot of push and pull here. And ultimately your question's really good. And I should definitely try to push in the budget direction. So thank you for answering that. I'm glad I didn't skip over that or miss it. That'd be really good. Good question. Black card that searches. I'm sorry to forget the name. Like reference similar cards like Shadowmoor, like Mana Reflection. The black card that searches is Scheming Symmetry. I already went past it, but it's in the middle. There we go. Scheming Symmetry. I don't know, but I like Scheming Symmetry a lot. I think it's very, very good and I want it. Kitty cats. I'm actually allergic to cats, so I very rarely pet them. But it's okay. My wife and pets them and cuddles with them and stuff like that. But I pet them occasionally and then immediately like wash my hands or take a shower afterwards. And that's how much I like animals and my wife, that I got cats even though I'm allergic to them. Super budget jank combo deck. Combo. I'd have to think about that. That's a good question. I can't read your name, but says for life at the end. You asked for super budget jank combo deck. Usually combo decks are a little bit more on the pricey side because you need very specific cards to create your combo pieces. And a lot of times you need interaction and you need like ways of getting there and you need tutors and like you have to build around it a lot. And so definitely need to think about that a little bit more. Favorite combo off the top of my head has got to be Traumatic Visions or Traumatic. Oh, hang on. That's not it. Can't even spell it right. No, Traumatic Visions is not what I was thinking of at all. Oh, I forget the combo. That's okay. Biovisionary is my favorite Jank combo deck. There we go. I got it. For life, you got to get Biovisionaries, and here's the thing. You got a bunch of copy effects and clone effects, and so if you're playing a normal fair game, you copy all of their stuff, and then if you want to go for your Jank combo, boom, you just copy your Biovisionary a bunch of times and then put it together. I have a Riku Biovisionary deck, and it is value and fun. There we go. Chunky Mutts are the best. They are great at cuddles and great around kids. Let's see here. Which one of the Theros cards? Oh, good question. Theros had an Enchantment Matters archetype to it, and was very Greek feeling. And so you literally have some of these things, like this is a satyr, like a satyr thing right there. Does it even say? I don't even know. I don't know Vorthos stuff as much, but like that, this looks Theros-y to me. We go over to some of the other Enchantment Matters. Where's the dude? Starfield Mystic. Like this is very much Theros right here. The Realm of the Gods opens before me. So this is a Theros card 100%. And so we can see some of those as well. Like, yeah, and I would not be surprised if there's just, this thing was loaded with other Theros cards for sure, or even sort of Theros-y art too. Okay, good question. Viking dinosaurs? Yeah, it's a good question. The cards, like literally, you don't need me to tell you Doubling Season is good. It's just good. I know what you mean. Just took apart Daxos to build Tuvasa Enchantress. What should I do with all the great black cards I'm not using anymore? That's a good question. Black enchantments. So, sorry about the sibilants. I have a black enchantress deck that I like a lot. The problem is that it's gonna play very similar to your Tuvasa deck. So I would go with black, green, big mana, and you basically use the green big mana and you use the black enchantments for control and more big mana. And so I would go black, green, big mana. That's what I would decide. Back to Phyrexia. Oh God, no more infect, says Brian. No, Brian, I will infect your face. Make infect great again. Risen Reef is good in EDH. Here's the thing. Coiling Oracle is fine in EDH. I think you need other elemental enablers to make Risen Reef actually good. But it's not shameful to include it. And so that's a good choice as well. Zada is a really good Jank combo enabler for someone who said that. That's really good. Congrats on 60K subscribers. Thank you for your congratulations. That makes me happy. Yeah, I got to 60K recently. That makes me feel things, emotions and stuff like that. But honestly, what makes me feel better is like, hey, I got 60K subscribers, sure, but like I have 250 people that came to this to hang out on a Monday. Like that makes me feel good. So quality over quantity. I'd rather have you fine folks hanging out with me and talking. Like I got 100 people hanging out here and talking with me. I'd rather have you 100 than the other 59,000. Yeah. Okay. Fun deck my friend made, focused on Necrotic Ooze, experiment. Yeah. Necrotic Ooze is super broken. Yeah, definitely. And Mimeoplasm. Yeah, definitely. A good combination right there. Vikings. Vikings a tribe. They might do cowards and warriors. That would be really legit. So instead of Vikings, they'll do warriors, and then maybe they'll throw some cowards in there. That'd be sweet. First commander deck. I had kind of two first commander decks. I had Omnath Locus of Mana for like a big green mana deck, and I had Brian Stoutarm as my other deck. And so both of those, the Omnath Locus of Mana worked really, really, really well. My Brian Stoutarm deck was big failure, and I made a deck tech about why it was a failure too, because it took me years to figure out why I built it wrong. Everyone that likes enchantments definitely wants to go back to Theros for sure. Thank you for asking your question. 100k subs in no time, easy. I need to probably, what I need to do is make more clickbait videos. I had planned on doing that this summer. So I hope you're looking forward to some awesome clickbait videos that'll generate a bunch of views and people will come into me in flocks. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are enjoying hanging out live. I'm kind of happy to be like live a little bit. It's still weird because this is the third or fourth time I've streamed, but I really like this approach towards the set review. And then we'll see if people like, especially with me actually reading the card through, we'll see if people actually like going back and rewatching the stream that we did. Some people might like it. Other people will think it's slow, or I don't know, it might be too much talking. Set reviews are really good if you can kind of go back and forth. This would probably, for example, I think that the set review would probably be better if there were like 2 other people here and we could kind of like collaborate a little bit. Oh gosh, now I just thought of an idea that creates more work for me. No. Okay. Ooh, Garrick. Dude, if Garrick was up there living with the Vikings, oh, Nana, you came up with a good one. DJ, how would you build Kaikar for competitive commander? What is it? So I thought about Divergent. Oh, that is not Divergent at all. Oh, Divergent transformations. There we go. So I think it revolves around Divergent transformation. So it essentially becomes a combo deck. You have a lot of disruption, and then this Divergent transformations, or this instant speed polymorph effect, can go through your deck and then literally get you Trinket Mage, and the Trinket Mage gets you Top, Sensei's Divining Top, and also gets you Magus of the Future. And so I typed the wrong, there we go. And so this allows you with Kaikar to instantly basically play your whole deck, because you can play your top off the top of your library, and then that generates you 1 red mana, and then you can put the top back on top. And so once you have your whole deck in your hand and you've started this loop, you can win a ton of different ways, and you can also disrupt your opponents in a bajillion different ways. So really that's getting to Kaikar, and that's casting a single spell. So it's basically one spell, easily tutored, instant speed, one spell, that is all you need to, and your commander to be able to go off. And that's powerful in competitive EDH, or yeah, for sure. Good question. Ragnar's on the reserve list. There's a lot of cards on the reserve list that are Ragnar is definitely a Viking. Ragnar. How much is Ragnar? $28. This card is bad, and it is $28. Regenerate target creature. I'm really sad that things like Hazazon Tamar is one of my favorite cards, and it's so expensive on the reserve. It's on the reserve list, and it's so expensive. It's $166. I did not realize that it was $166. I thought it was like $60. And it's not $166 worth of good, but I love the card, and so it makes me sad. You guys need to get play groups that let you proxy that stuff, because those cards are fun. They're not, Anyway. What time are you in? I am Pacific time. I'm located in Los Angeles. Build a lot of lands decks. So Dan Miller says he's built a lot of lands decks. He's had a hard time settling on one. What's your favorite and why? I settled on Sultai lands, and the reason I settled on Sultai lands is that you need green. Yes, okay. And it really wanted me to think about Jund. Jund lands was totally a thing, and red brings a lot to the land game, but I really, really wanted to be able to play with Tatyova. And there's a few other cards that were really good, but Tatyova really had me like locked in, that I really wanted to play with that. But ultimately, I think that Jund gives you a lot more options for cool land synergies. And so I would go in with Jund, even though Sultai was my favorite. How do I like to spice up gameplay? Recently, I've been playing with Unmander cards. So I have my Grimlock Dinobot leader deck. I have a Grand Calculatron deck, and so I've been spicing things up with Unmander cards. But honestly, I don't play enough in order to actually need to spice things up. I just get to play and bring my decks. But I have scratched my playing itch a little bit because I went up to Magic Fest Seattle and then I played like literally the whole weekend. So I feel like I have been playing Commander. But for example, when September rolls around and it's my busy season, I'll go months without playing a Commander game, and it makes me like seriously makes me feel good. Not very good. But luckily, like things like this, like being able to interact with you guys and being able to make videos, it scratches that itch. That's why I started making videos to begin with. Tiana for Boros Enchantress Voltron Commander. Sounds sweet. I'd make that, Devin. What's your... Jasquito asks, what, in your opinion, are the most fun commanders for enchantments? Usually, I think it has to do with the colors, but really you just need green for the Enchantress effects. So as long as I'm drawing cards, I'm pretty good. So I'm going to go with green on that one. Merit Lage. That would be crazy. The Turbo Flea. I like Merit Lage and definitely needs to be in more sets. Unfortunately, the Modern Horizons Merit Lage wasn't very good. So we're just going to have to go back to Dark Depths. Xenosmasher says, I love that that I'm not hiding or joking about making clickbait videos. I am 100% going to make clickbait videos because clickbait videos work. They work so well. Clickbait works. There's a reason why BuzzFeed gets stuff. And I should be doing more things. Like I studied these things and there are things that I can do to make my videos more watchable and stuff like that. Ultimately, every year I have done like a tour of my commander decks, and it is a fun video to do, and there are ways to make it clickbaity and stuff like that. And so, yes, I need to make some clickbait videos and drum up some stuff. You see behind the curtain about me planning on making stuff to get you guys pumped. Okay. By the way, like the clickbait stuff is basically just psychology, and wizards and everyone uses it. Just some people are a little bit, I don't know, they feel like they're not doing clickbait when really they're just using some of the same psychological strategies that everyone else uses. And so I'm just not going to mince words. Like I'm going to make some clickbait titles out there pretty soon. And then I'm going to get some good videos. It's going to be fun. Okay. Ooh, Arena Direct Challenge stream? That sounds fun. We might do that. I need time, though. The art on that is really good. Okay, I might have skipped a few questions, and if I skipped your question, I'm sorry, but I'm going to go to this one by Brian. Says, what is one of your favorite pet cards? Proteus Staff is definitely a really awesome pet card. It had me thinking about it with Divergent Transformations, but Proteus Staff was was a very cool standard deck that I had that got Darksteel Colossus onto the battlefield after I cast Raise the Alarm. And so I love using Proteus Staff on my opponent's creatures as well and changing it up and being super random. So I'm going to name Proteus Staff as a pet card that I have in some decks that definitely doesn't need a Proteus Staff. His Royal Insanity says, you know what's always fun in Hydra deck? Mana Reflections into Unbound Flourishing into Doubling Season. I agree. Let's do that. Get into the Realm for Living Lands. Definitely fun. Has a Grand Calculatron too. With cycling, a lot of combo, Mana Severance, Trench Gorger, Goblin Charbelcher. Ooh, good stuff. Grand Calculatron, I did a lot of testing on it, and I learned a lot. And my deck it might be too good. When you have a silver bordered commander, your deck can't be too good. So like playing Spike And like instantly winning doesn't work, because then people will be like, yeah, don't play Spike. You know, yeah, you have a weird unmander and now you're just winning the game out of nowhere. Grand Calculatron rides the edge. It might just be a little bit too good. But a lot of times I win by thoptering people out, so maybe it's fine. But Grand Calculatron was a deck building challenge that was awesome. Oops, my store has a proxy price limit where there can't be more than $50. Oh, that is an interesting way to limit proxies. You're not limiting the number of proxies, you're limiting the dollar amount of proxies. I like that. Micah Ireland. That's a great thing that your store is doing. I don't even think your store should be like, probably if they're a Wizards Play Network store, they probably shouldn't be doing anything official dealing with proxies. But that's actually a good thing, because it lets you try out single cards that you want to try out, and it lets people kind of like find the cards that they need, and really doesn't go above and beyond. So that's kind of cool. Budget decks are totally a thing. I made a Rook-Thard budget deck for $15 and it's still together. The price of it has definitely like gone up recently. So I think it's like close to $50 now. And I've added some cards in, but always budget cards adding in, and it works and it's fun and it smashes people. So there are budget decks out there that are really, really, really good. And I will make one. I don't know when, but someday. Gaming Doctor says no. Math says, I feel like sometimes I focus too much on synergy and interaction at the expense of win cons. That's a good question. So, Math basically is saying that he's focusing on the synergy, and basically the synergy sort of comes together, but it doesn't actually translate into winning the game. And that is a huge problem with a lot of synergy decks. And some people build decks, and it's a fun way to do it. Like my lands deck, it's like I'm moving lands around, I'm doing a lot, but I'm not moving towards winning the game. And this is something that also hits aristocrat strategies really heavily. People love aristocrats, which is where you have a bunch of creatures, and then when they die, you either ping people, you generate value, and you get things back again, and you create this engine. Sometimes an engine just like revs up a lot and does a lot of stuff and just spins its wheels and doesn't go anywhere. Okay, so what you essentially need to do in order to tune that engine is try to trim down the redundant pieces, and that can be a very individual thing. So some decks, you just need to like get rid of some of the value. And I know it like feels so bad, but I had to do that with my lands deck. I got rid of some of the value cards and I added in more cards that can lead me towards winning the game, even though I felt like I didn't need to. And then some decks, you literally just have to say, this deck does not have as many win conditions. I will not win as often as I should because of just the design of this deck, the synergy of this deck. And that's actually a big problem. And the thing is that if you build a synergistic deck, like you're building an aristocrats deck, you don't want to just say like, oh, okay, I just always torment of hailfire people instead of doing the thing my deck does. So sometimes you just have to accept that your deck is a synergy deck and not moving towards winning the game. And that's just something you have to work through. And other times you have to take out redundancy and you have to take out single pieces that you have too many of and streamline your synergistic packages and make sure you're moving towards a win condition. Yeah, that's actually a very astute observation for a lot of decks, and it's a problem. Clickbait, taking infinite turns in mono red? Figure out now. Brian, I will do that video. No, they need to print another mono red thing for sure. Rayanne with only multicolored creatures and Hero of Precinct 1. Yes, I've thought about that. Yeah, IRL loot boxes. Seriously, will you ever do a Hogak deck tech? Probably not. The reason why is Hogak is like so expensive because of Modern, and Jimmy did one already on game nights, and his was pretty solid. And it feels like it would just be a lot of the same graveyard strategies. And I think that other commanders might do graveyard strategies a little bit better. So right now, Dr. Hunter, I'm not planning on doing a Hogak deck. Nanot says, thanks for hanging out, and he has to go to bed. He probably already went to bed. But thank you, Nanot, very much for hanging out with me, and I hope you have a good one. Shout out to Proteus staff. Let's see. Proteus staff and Fibble Fib. Let's see here. Tony, thank you for being a fan. What's my go-to deck? And by the way, I've recently trimmed down my decks. I used to have between 30 and 40 decks, and now I have 18, and I feel better about it. I've trimmed decks that I don't play very much, and even though I used to keep them around because of sentimental value, I felt I had this time where I just didn't play it, and like they had staples in that deck, and so I felt like I couldn't just spend more money getting more staples, so I had to break some of them apart. So, what's my go-to decks? My go-to deck is, I usually really like political decks, which is my go-to deck in many different situations. So Braids and my new political Okagachi Vengeful Kami are definitely my like go-to decks because they really interact with a lot of different people. So that's my average go-to deck. But in terms of playing, if I ever play with like Josh and Jimmy in that group, then my go-to deck has to be a little bit higher power level. So Shalai, Voice of Plenty, or Muldrotha Lands, or Dragon Combo. I have a Dragon Combo deck. Yeah, those have been doing pretty well. DJ. So Shifu Dexamon Mao says, DJ, have you considered doing a Patreon deck series? Like once every other month, all patrons above a certain level get a lottery ticket where you take the winners of submitted decks and tune it. The idea of a lottery ticket, I think I could definitely do something like that. And one thing is that a lot of people like fan requested decks. Sometimes the fan is like super excited about getting their deck talked about, and other people don't like those deck techs as much. I don't know. I got to think about that. It's a very good question. I have thought about it before. One thing that also like gets me is like the lottery ticket thing. Patreon, by the way, Patreon is totally right, but they are very, very particular about the idea of lottery because they don't want their website to be gambling. And so if there's any monetary value with something that you give away and you don't give it away to everyone equally, then they're like super aggressive about it. So I've actually gotten in trouble by Patreon like half a dozen times for breaking their terms of service by just trying to give stuff away. And so I'd need to clear. I would not use the word lottery. I would say that everyone has an equal chance. I don't know. His Royal Insanity says, what are your thoughts on that Unurza Planeswalker? I love the Unurza Planeswalker. I played against it in GP Seattle, and the ultimate gave a Dreadhorde Invasion. That's the 1 in a black, put a mass creature into the battlefield, like every turn and lose life. And so I was really hoping that the ultimate would be so much bigger. In fact, we didn't attack Urza just to be able to get up to the ultimate, and the ultimate was just that. It was like, whew. So really Urza can be not very good, and it can also be broke. But I would play against Urza every time. Best legendary creature for a Treasure Clues EDH deck. Grixis for treasures, Bant for clues. Interesting. I would want to have white in there somewhere because Smothering Tithe for treasures is just so broken. So even though that's not like a technical way of getting there, like it's like not a scientific way, Dan, that's what I would definitely do. I might have skipped some of your questions. Oh, I did skip some questions. So let's just go to Brian. So I'm going to people that tag Jumbo Commander. So I'm going to the next one by Brian. If I missed your question, I'm sorry. Brian said, what do you think is the best way to sell cards? Card Kingdom? The best way to sell cards is to go to a GP and sit in front of a real person and watch them search your cards and immediately get cash back. That's very hard to do. But the problem is that I live in a big city and I regularly, even like years and years ago, like I used to go to GPs to play in GPs. So it was always a fun thing that I went to with my friends. And so I would literally just wait for the next GP And I'm in Los Angeles, and so there's a lot of dealers nearby. So for example, like MTG Deals, they go to a bunch of GPs. They're a big buyer. Like it would be very easy for me to literally drive to Deals and turn in my cards. So I've always had the luxury of being able to get rid of my cards when I needed to, but I know a lot of you, most of you would not have that ability. So buy lists would be great. I've heard great stuff about Card Kingdom. And yeah, I would use Card Kingdom for sure. I'm obviously sponsored by tcgplayer.com. But I'm still Card Kingdom. They're a stand-up organization. They're great. They sponsor awesome people too. So Card Kingdom, you can't go wrong with. And also they're like super stand-up like company. They always stand by what they sell, and they're very honest, and they make things right. They're great. It's magical hacker in a deck where planeswalkers. That's ridiculous. That's so funny. Fellow educator here. Hello, fellow educator. Way to have the summer off, hopefully. I play with my students all the time. Do you find teaching Magic more enjoyable than playing it? Sometimes I find teaching very, very satisfactory, but I do not. I mean, I guess I teach all of you fellow people Magic, but I do not teach kids how to play Magic. I don't want to. I want to keep work, and I want to keep like this, and I want to keep other things. And I know it might be a little bit weird that I don't want to like mix them all together, but like I don't want to be talking about Magic decks at work. So I don't do that very often. I kind of like compartmentalize a little bit. But let's see here. There's a lot of things that I actually really enjoy teaching, like a lot more than doing. Like, for example, I love reading, but really, really in-depth books that like give me a lot of satisfaction, I would much rather teach them because I guess I should put it in context. I started off in education as a teacher, and so I taught like a lot of different subjects. But the subject that I taught the longest was like AP English Literature and AP English Language before I transitioned into administration and other things not in the classroom. So for a really long time, I taught AP English Literature, and I strongly prefer like sitting down and talking with people and walking them through and leading kids to like make big leaps about books and voice their opinions. And that seems to be way more fun than me picking up like a book that's like requires a lot of depth and thought and analyzing it myself. In terms of reading right now, if I have to pick up a book, I pick up something like fun and science fiction and a little bit trashy. And I love that kind of stuff so much. And so if I want like a challenging book, I would definitely rather teach it than I would just consume it on my own. So Brett, that might be a roundabout way of answering your question. Burn Commander. I think that Neheb was a good burn commander, and I would totally build Neheb. So Gabriel, good thing right there. I agree. Mike is like, sell your legs. I would totally sell my legs for Magic cards. Let's go down here to the next question. Edwin says, will you ever build a commander tribal deck which features all the famous commanders for a given strategy, Marin, Carador, and Muldrotha, etc.? That's an interesting one. Tribal, sort of like tribal, like graveyard or something like that. I like it when you can incorporate other legendary creatures into a deck. That could be pretty cool. I hadn't thought about that. Dr. Hunter Plays, Gaming Doctor says, do you play Rhystic Study, Smothering Tithe always or sometimes? Sometimes. I have blue decks without Rhystic Study, but I do not have any white decks without Smothering Tithe. I think that white needs it. Actually, I have white-green decks that don't have Smothering Tithe, but every deck that's like white or white-red, white-black, like all of those, they all have Smothering Tithe because I feel like I need that ability a lot, which bothers me because I feel like I should have other options. DJ, have you ever dabbled or do you currently play any other card games? No, I do not. I played Hearthstone for a little while. I play other games sometimes, but they're usually like board games and stuff like that. Cardboard game that we like to play a lot would be Dominion, but no, not a lot of other card games, and other games in particular. I find that I don't have a lot of free time, so I got this, I got other stuff, and yeah. I feel like Magic fulfills my quota of game and mental energy. So sometimes when I want to take a break, I don't want to be like, oh, let me take this like fun, let me go to this really intense game. Sometimes I just want to veg out, you know? New Lily. She's very sweet. I totally agree. Would you allow, since this is an uncard, there's a Planeswalkers, a commander for a fun game. I have allowed hers in the past, and I would totally do it again. Think it's great. How do you decide what decks to bring to events? Which ones do you bring? That's a very good question. I bring decks that can play in different metas. So for example, I will bring a fun lower power level deck. I'll bring a deck that has a big range of power, which lets me play a lot of different things, and usually that deck is political. I'll bring a high power deck, and then I'll usually bring a deck that I'm kind of testing, that I want to see how it plays. And then maybe that's the deck I bust out against friends or something other than that. And so I go for different power levels and different styles of deck, much more than specific decks. So, and then usually I bring only 4 to a tournament, and then I'll usually bring a couple more that I'll leave at home or leave at my hotel, and then I'll change them up a little bit if it's a multi-day thing. Like, for example, I'm going to go to Las Vegas in August 22nd. I will be at GP Las Vegas or Magic Fest Las Vegas. I'll probably bring 8 decks, and I'll only bring 4 at a time to the event center. How do you handle getting ganged up on by your table or threat? Tone down the player, play more defensive. Honestly, if I'm getting ganged up on, I just die. I don't change the decks a lot based on that. I might bring out, like if I get ganged up a lot, I might bring up the power level of the deck. But honestly, if you're getting ganged up on, because I think you need the reason why you're getting ganged up on. I think that what you're doing is you're coming out as the threat. A lot of times in a lot of different games, not just Magic, but the person in second place, the person in third place usually wins the game. So the person in first place gets knocked down by the rest of the group. The person in last place never actually gets things going as much. So second and third place are usually the ones that close out a game. Honestly, I don't mind getting ganged up on if I'm clearly the threat, and sometimes that happens. And if I want to win games, I definitely hold back a little bit and then make sure to deploy. It definitely changes my playstyle. So I'll hold back and I'll try and deploy things at certain times, try to bide my time a little bit. And sometimes that works. And sometimes, well, someone that was in first place literally just goes so far above that actually the table didn't properly address them, you know? So that's something that you just have to learn by doing, and you're not going to win every game. You know, you're lucky if you win a quarter of your games. Yuriko is amazing, and I love ninjas, and we got a lot of new ninjas, so that's super good. What do you do when your current playgroup starts getting too powerful? One friend started playing combos in his deck. Now a lot of us do. Natai, that's a good question. I think you have to start off with a conversation. And literally say and so Josh and I did an entire video about this called I don't remember what he titled it, but basically it's like managing your meta. You know, you want to make sure to craft your meta as carefully as you craft your commander decks. The Spike Feeders said that in the last stream that we had here, and I was taken aback by how profound that was. And so if you find your playgroup is going in a weird direction that you don't want to be a part of, then you need to do something to shape that. Okay. Now the key is not to change them. The key is to go along with them in some ways and then get them to go along with you in other ways. So a lot of it has to do with basically managing personalities or managing people, not necessarily managing cards. Now, if you do just want to manage cards, then there's tons of different ways that you can combo, which can be super fun, or ways that you can disrupt their combo. I like playing super heavy combo decks and really powerful Magic, but I also like playing janky stuff. And so want times when I can play both of them. So if you want that in your play group, then make sure to give a little, but also make sure that they're giving you what you want out of it. Let's see here. Oh, the Sisea EDH deck? Under 47. Yeah, I totally think so. I think I have 43 in my Siseo deck, but I'll have to count for you. How do you feel about the new 5-color commander in M20? Golos Tireless Tracker. I like Golos a lot, for sure. I think that he's very good. Yeah. Oh yeah, someone, a lowly slime says Card Kingdom is good on their mistakes. They've been good to me before when they've made mistakes, but it's not. Card Kingdom's great. They've been good on their mistakes, but I honestly don't order from them very often. I know that I'm wearing a TCGplayer.com shirt right now, but honestly, that's where I buy my cards. Like I use TCGplayer.com, and so that's something that would be really good. Have your students recognized you? Yes, every so often a student recognizes me. There was one that literally like it was so funny because literally like in the comments he kind of doxed me. Where he's like, "Are you this person from this place and this thing?" And then like luckily like he realized what he did and then deleted his comment, but it was very funny for a little bit. But recently, no, I have not had students recognize me recently. Ooh, have you read Too Like the Lightning? No, I have not. And I am always looking for new book suggestions. I haven't even heard of this one before. So I'm going to copy and paste this over. Ooh, Too Like the Lightning, Book 1 of Terra Ignota. Sorry, I probably... you guys are all watching me right now, just stare at a blank screen, like looking at a possibility of like a book that I could read. This is good content right now, isn't it? All right, I have that book saved. Thank you very much to... B.E. Camaro. Oh my gosh, who's that guy? I don't even know who that person is. It's ridiculous. You just want me to get this book so that you can jump into my Audible account and start listening to this book. Just manipulative. And if this was a different situation, I would have totally glazed past this, but instead I have people messing with me with book recommendations in the chat. Just really disingenuous people in here. Okay. And let's go on here. What actually makes me wonder, has anyone recognized you as the Jumbo Commander? I told people I was pretty open with some people at work about it, and then recently we went to a team building exercise with my department to an escape room, and the person that ran the escape room was like, "Oh, you're DJ, sign my commanders." Of course it'd be like a nerdy job at an escape room, and everyone else in my job was like, "Oh my gosh, you said that you did this, and like we didn't quite believe you." And then he's like, "No, he's amazing." And I'm like, okay, cool. All right. I meant Commander Tribal. I don't know. The tribe is famous commanders. That's kind of cool. I like that. You have Creature 2711 says, "Sup DJ? 3 out of 4 decks are from my videos." I'm so glad that you got inspired, because that's exactly what I want to do. Hopefully you took some of the ideas and just started riffing with it, going with your own collection and building it. That'd be super great. Fetch lands for 2019. I do not think that there are going to be fetch lands in those. And I'll talk about speculation on that a little bit later. Ooh, DJ, have you ever listened to Dungeons and Daddies? I heard about that before, and I also like how their tagline is like, this is actually just dads that play Dungeons and Dragons. This is not like a BDSM like podcast. But I've not had a chance to listen to them. That'd be pretty cool. What do you think are some good cards for Hydra Tribal? Literally all the Hydras and mana doublers for sure. So like Verdurous Bloom, Vernal Bloom. That's like one that would be really good. Mono White Hate Bears. Yeah, I do like Mono White Hate Bears. That was my, I had an Avacyn deck that had a lot of Mono White Hate Bears for sure. Master Biomancer combinations. Do you feel need new commanders? Dude, I feel like they've done a great job with commanders. And honestly, like this set has been really great because I think that Jeskai needed a new commander and Kaikar is amazing. So that's really good. Ryan Birchfield says, I mostly do 1v1 with my roommate. He plays fast-paced Kalia. I play more mid-range Ramos. How do I balance that meta? That's a really good question because 1v1 is very, very different. If you want to search for deck lists, type in French, and that'll give you a different feeling for the decks. Your 1v1 commander is going to be way, way closer to playing Legacy or Canadian Highlander. So you should look up slightly different resources for that. But that's, Ryan, that's a really, really good question there because the content that I've been giving you and the content that you've been hearing around is slightly off for the game you're playing. So that's actually, you've noticed that, I can tell. Do you think Magic is becoming financially inaccessible to too many people? I used to be able to build a 75% deck for a reasonable price. Nowadays I feel I cannot. Moonmites, you are absolutely right. It is like the budget cards are definitely raising up and there has been a huge influx of people and Magic is way more popular. I do think that this is on its core, Magic is a very luxury game and we are probably, most of us here are very we should feel good that we have disposable income. Even if you're building $50 decks or $25 decks, that's $25 going towards cardboard. And so I feel super lucky that I have an expensive hobby and I can't afford it. So there are going to be people at different financial levels all over the place that are and some of them are going to be able to build decks and others are not. And so I'm really glad that all of us can engage in this game in some way, shape, or form. And Arena might be bringing in a whole new group of people that might want to feel like a free-to-play kind of thing. They don't want to drop even $50 on it because they've been used to playing with Arena. And so I think that we might need to get more creative with our commander decks and I think that what helps that entry level are the commander precons because those are sold at Target. They used to be cheaper and now they're a little bit more, but they're still very reasonable and they're good decks. So on its core, no, I think that we're okay still, but I hear you and there's a lot of truth in exactly what you say. Let's see here. Oh, so one of the top books of 2019. My friend was not just trying to get me to buy him a book, and it's actually a good one. Maybe. We'll see. Doubling Cube, good call. Would you run Warden under Roshin or make him the new commander? I would run, I would drop the red of Roshin and I would just play Warden. Good call. Gruul does have some good Hydras, but I would just go with mono green. It's good one right there. If you play Iceberg or Mana Bloom, play with Doubling Season. Okay, good. Thanks for asking a question, DJ. Thank you for asking the question. And yeah, Wafers Bobble is a really good example. Don't know what's going on with that. Oh my gosh, I made it to the bottom. I love it so much. I didn't deliver on my soup recipe that someone asked me for. They're like, will you talk about soup during the stream? And I was like, absolutely. But I didn't mention it once in the stream. It was just because I didn't have it in my notes. I forgot. All right. If there are no more questions, I think we can start bringing this stream to a close. I don't know. Or if you guys want to hang out. Okay, no, there are more questions. Immediately, What's your go-to soup? All right. Nick, let me describe to you my go-to soup. I think my go-to soup is a black bean soup. Like a lot of good soups that I make, it starts off by literally putting bacon in the bottom of a pan. Okay. And then as the fat renders out, you've created your core fat that you can start building your base on. So I start with crisping up bacon as much as possible, take that out. And then I do take out some of the fat to have just enough to then usually start sauteing onions in there. Onions and garlic end up being really good. And in this particular soup, that's a black bean base, I also try to get Anaheim or poblano peppers, and then I start blackening them over the burners because that dark blackening taste penetrates through as I peel off the skin of those things. So as my onions and garlic and stuff slowly to saute, I'm also sort of blackening those peppers. Okay. Then once those onions have sort of cooked down a lot, I start adding the spices, and the spices that hit the hot bacon grease will actually start blooming and then get really good. There's usually I have a lot of smoke or like some certain like adobo spices that add that deep level of richness to the black beans that ends up being really good. Okay. Then it becomes sort of like get everything in the pot as quickly as possible. So usually for my liquid, I like using really sharp IPA because we have the beans that are very starchy, the black beans that are very starchy, and then the bacon fat that's still in there and pervades the whole thing to be very, and so I think that the beer of an IPA really cuts through it. And then also I finish it off with sort of like some lime zest and some lime. And so that helps cut through the flavor as well. So Anaheims or poblanos, some sort of deep flavors, the black beans that go through, onions, garlic, and then lime zest, a little bit of lime on top, that underlying sort of beer, little IPA flavor. Sprinkle the bacon on top, a little bit of cohited cheese, cilantro, if you don't like cilantro, parsley. That is my go-to mix between a soup and a chili. It's a black bean soup. Someone mentioned that I missed your question. You should ask it again. Do you play Water Market in Grand Calculatron? No, I only play that as the only silver bordered, and not because I don't like to, just because it's easier for other people to approach it if they're not constantly worried about unmanned or silver bordered cards. One of the best books of 2019 was referring to my other comment. If you like fantasy, The Black Leopard, Red Wolf by Marlon James. Awesome. I will put that in my to-do list. So my friend I think that was my friend. I'm pretty sure it's my friend. It's just trying me to get me to buy his book. Okay. Let's go this one. Now that I described soup to you guys for 15 minutes. Okay. DJ What's a Commander you've always wanted to play but never got to build a deck for. I have a lot of cards, and so if I really want to build a deck, I usually build it. But there are sometimes when the sets are coming so fast and furious, like recently, that I've really decided I love a card and I don't actually end up building it. So I don't know off the top of my head, but really good. Chicken noodle. I prefer chicken and dumpling if I'm going to go with a chicken-based soup because I think the dumplings add more texture, and noodles are good, but then again, I think I'd have to make homemade noodles because it needs to have that bite and that texture. So chicken and dumpling and then chicken noodle, but the noodles have to be homemade. And then as soon as you're just throwing in pasta into a chicken noodle dish, it like goes way down, in my opinion. Favorite Planeswalker. 4-mana Karn is my favorite because I like Karn Strucks. Any tips on playing Yarok lands? Ooh, good decision. Good thing right there. I think with Yarok lands, you have to realize that you have a higher than average land count in that deck. And so you need to make sure that you have a little bit of a piece of your engine. So usually when I'm taking a hand of Magic cards, I want to make sure that I have ramp because I need to get to other things. But like you have to change your perspective in Yarok lands or in my Muldrotha lands deck that I'm not exactly looking for ramp. The ramp will come. I'm looking for card advantage because it's really easy to flood out in that deck in my mind. Good question. Is EDHREC.com the best or worst thing to happen to EDH? I think EDHREC.com is great, but I think some people misuse it. And when you use something as a crutch, it messes with your creativity. So, for example, if you're trying to do a school assignment and you are looking for the answer, online, then you are focused on finding the answer. You're not focused on creativity or figuring out the answer. And so a lot of times the analytical side of your brain, the one that's analyzing and figuring stuff out, versus your creative side of your brain, are not working together in tandem all the time. And so sometimes just looking for answers on ADH.com can stifle your creativity. So just be very aware as you're using it, because tools are great and you should never be like, psh, the hammer was the worst thing to happen like since rocks. No, like I think the tools are great. And so use it, but people misuse it all the time. And so don't be one of those people. Chicken and wild rice soup. Wild rice goes above just throwing pasta in chicken soup, but still below dumplings and still below homemade noodles. But good call. Best way to make good budget soup that can still compete with other soups. Okay, Lily Slime, you might have been joking, but I'm serious about this. French onion soup is one of the cheapest soups you can ever make, and it is so good. It is literally onions, one of the cheapest foods ever. So if you get onions and you get wine, like, you can make French onion soup, and it is so, so good. And like, yeah, people can go crazy and get like really fancy cheese to put on top, but literally it's like onions, wine, like bread and some cheese, and like you can even make just an onion soup like that. So yes, that is my go-to budget soup, French onion soup, because it's like deep and flavorful, and it's just basically all onions. It's so cheap and good. Bloodlust. Bloodlust is +4, -4. Does she die? Bloodlust. I think she's +4-. It's +4 -4. Yeah, +4 -4. What's feather? Oh no. Oh no. There we go. No, I would not put bloodlust in a feather deck. Yes, I agree. The person that I skipped. Oh yeah, Themistocles, I did miss your question. What is your question? I'm going to look for it. Good call. It was Yorok versus Muldrotha to lead Sultai lands in EDH. I have Muldrotha right now, but I think I'm going to tweak it to Yarok. But here's the thing. I don't know if that's like the new hotness. You know what I mean? How you're like just entranced by something new and you want to do that. Yarok. I'm going to go with Yarok. But I don't think that's going to be a hard decision to make for sure. Someone said chef expert. I'm not a chef expert, but I do like cooking. Philosophy Corner. Is breakfast cereal a soup? Interesting. Is gazpacho a soup? That's my answer back. Usually when you have a set answer for these things, like they're usually, you usually can't get the answer right. So instead you ask a question back. So someone says like, is a hot dog a sandwich? You say, is a taco a sandwich? And then and that's how philosophy works, right? You just ask questions back and forth. And then that's how you arrive at what you need to do. Super secret Gordon Ramsay. Yeah, I like cooking a lot. And I think that I have become a passable home cook, but and also like I'm obviously like I talk a lot, like so I'm pretty good at talking. So you put passable home cook and just someone that talks a lot, and you can describe a soup for sure. A legendary chef and like an unset, that'd be so cool. Added Marin to Muldrotha. Marin, by the way, is a solid just inclusion. Marin is in my cube, and just being a recursive grade digger over and over again for a 3/4 is just very good. So I actually think that that's totally fine. German liver dumpling soup. I would eat that. I would eat a lot of that. That sounds so good. Shifu Daxing Mao. Commander I've always wanted to play but never got around to build a deck for. I don't think so. Do you know what I'll do? I'll see if I can figure that out. Hang on. If it takes too long to figure out, I'm going to skip it, but let's see if I can figure it out really quickly. No for that one. What I'm trying to do right now is look back at some of the most recent sets that I felt rushed on and thought about commanders that I wanted to build around and never did. And so far, I'm looking back and there really haven't been a lot. Was there something from Modern Horizons that I want to build and just kind of got pushed out of my mind? No, I don't think so. Let's go back to Guilds of Ravnica or something like that. Oh, do you know what I did want to do? Is that I really wanted to build a... hang on. Let me remember. It's the green... I really wanted to build a +1/+1 counters deck. So I really like partner commanders. So Pure and Toothy are like really, really cool. And so I did want to build like a Pure and Toothy deck or like some other deck like that. And so I have pieces of that put together and I never quite put it together. So I think that I would get a Pure and Toothy type, something like that. My friend of mine called a Bloody Mary a cold tomato vodka soup. Would a Bloody Mary be a soup? That's another good philosophical question. We can definitely dive deeper into that for sure. Dumplings. Indeed. Dumplings. And Xenosmasher, I think I got his question about Muldrotha versus Yarok, which is solid. Thank you for looking out. I want to make sure that because I am going to miss some people's questions, so I want to make sure that I get to people. Old commanders deserve a look. There are so many old commanders that deserve more than a look. They deserve decks of their own. I just need to stop getting bombarded by content from wizards. Yeah. Who commands my lands matters is right now Muldrotha, but I'm thinking about changing it to Yarok. But right now it's Muldrotha for sure, and it worked well. Chef Commander, tap target. I like the Chef Commander. Only struggle in Magic right now is that I don't have enough sleeves to play as many commander decks as I want. Let me talk to you about Ultra Pro sleeves. Let me talk to you about buying sleeves in bulk. That's what I do. Buy them all in bulk, get all the same brand of sleeves, and until someone decides to sponsor me and send me sleeves on my own, I'm just going to buy cheap sleeves and sleeve everything up the same. Favorite land in Magic, asks Logan. Let's see. What's my favorite land in Magic? I really do like lands. Can it... Like, I'm thinking about things like Maze of Ith, which was like a very iconic land that I really enjoyed playing. I'm going to go with Maze of Ith just because it meant so much to me, and I like played it in casual games like all across the board, and like it's still a part. Like I'm going to go with Maze of Ith. That was a hard one. Good question, Logan. Should basic islands be banned from Magic? Now that we have snow-covered islands, why wouldn't we? I mean, it just makes sense. His Royal Insanity says, something you said earlier about running less than perfect decks remind me of my Lord Windgrace deck, as instead of purely lands matter, it has an elemental subtheme. Yeah, adding a subtheme is a great way to sort of like divide your deck a little bit, and it tones down the power level and it gives you more flavor. So that's another thing you can do is like think of the flavor of a deck rather than thinking of the overall power level. So like you have a Teysa Karlov deck and you're like, oh, I'm going to throw in the other two Teysas. You know, and creature protection Teysa is like blah, you know what I mean? But you throw it in anyways because it's like, oh, it just belongs in this deck. And that's a good way of changing the power level and still giving you those good feels for the deck. Really good idea, Royal Insanity. What are your thoughts on New Sissy from MH1? Do you think she's powerful or narrow? I like the idea of Legends. I think that she has the potential to be very powerful. I think she's great. But I'm more excited about the new legendary commander in Abzan. Yeah. Hexproof Arcanist, thank you. I'm glad you guys have been hanging out with me so much. And it looks like a lot of people are going, and I already explained about soup, so I'm gonna answer a few more questions, talk a little bit more, and then we're gonna take off. So, oh my gosh, I actually missed way more questions than I said. Knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad. Hexproof Anarchist, profound. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind tomatoes in a fruit salad. I would definitely do that. Gazpacho is a salad. There we go. There we go. Cheesy broccoli soup. People are saying hello and hearing us talk about soup. Definitely. This is live. Team Janny is talking about, is this live? And they're like, nah, he's like talking about comments 5 minutes ago. Next video, soup tutorial. I will 100% make a soup video if I get someone to bribe me. No. Commission a soup video. Oh, that's great. Janky synergy cards for Yarok. So it's got to be like an enter the battlefield effect, but is a little bit more janky. How about the new confiscate person? I would love to double confiscate. That'd be really, really good. Layla of Anticipation is $5. Bye. Let's see here. Anime Expo. I've been to Anime Expo before. Getting me to expos is very difficult because expos always cost money. That's sometimes I spend all of my money of my budget of money on magic cards often. So I go in and say like, oh, hey, look, where's my spending cash? And it's like, oh, I'm looking at it right now. It's in the form of cardboard. Completely off topic, but I watched your Persistent Practitioner's deck tech and I thought it was really cool, but made my own spin with it with Arkham Dexum as a commander. I love that you think something's cool and then you spin off, because that's what I want, is I want people to get a cool idea and then immediately start brainstorming and make something of their own. Because when you just grab something someone else made, it feels like it's not your own. You might enjoy it like you enjoy like buying a product, but hopefully if you take a commander deck and you like really riff with it and make it your own, like you end up loving it. So I'm so glad if people like take a little tiny idea that I have and really just build it their own or build it out of their own binder. It's great. I want to build an equally tuned deck to go against my girlfriend's Angel and Unicorn deck. How can I build something that matches hers and keep a fun game? I'm imagining angels and unicorns, and it sounds awesome. I think that you need to do lions and tigers and bears, oh my. That's going to be your deck. And so it also has split tribes, but some of them as beasts or something like that could be really powerful and might just be able to hang with the angel part, because the unicorns aren't bringing much to the party with this angel tribal deck. Mr. RMR Eagle is very good. All right. Consider to upgrade your deck note. Okay. I'm probably Azorius Persistent Practitioners. I just quit my job, then Yurk and Urza happens. I need more money. I hope you feel satisfied quitting your job, because usually that means that you are not in a good job, and now that you're out of it, feel good about that. And go proxy some stuff. It'll be good. I might have missed some things going on here. Gathering ideas for pure and toothy persistent practitioners. I'm so glad. Ooh, matzo balls are delicious. I've never made one before, and I don't know why I would ever make them, because there's like a Jewish deli like pretty close by that just makes them amazingly. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep going to Jewish delis and like literally get them for like $2. It's like $2 for like this just delicious pint of single huge matzo ball, like in delicious stock. It's amazing. So yeah, matzo balls, thumbs up. Can Gaia's Cradle make your 21 out of 22 commander unblockable for the win? Answer no. You're right. It cannot. Favorite deck in Modern? Modern, my favorite deck is Jund. I played Jund for a really long time, and so even though it's not very good right now, and I even dabbled in Death Shadow Jund, Jund is still my favorite deck. It plays Huntmaster of the Fells, which is one of my favorite cards. No, I really like the decks that have a lot of play, and so even though Jund is not a traditional control deck, I love the controlling elements of it. It feels like I always can do something, and that's one reason why I really liked my Shardless Bug deck in Legacy when it was good, is because it felt like the only version of control that I can play. It's like feels like it has a lot of stuff. Do you think you'll do a video with spike feeders? It'll be difficult because they do not live near me, and I don't think either one of us have a lot of excess money to start buying plane tickets and hotels and stuff like that. But I'm not against doing videos with them. I like them and think that they are smart and nice people that make good content. Let's see here. I remember trying to make a really dumb deck. It was horses, unicorns, Pegasus, nightmares, only the horse ones. Royal Insanity, I agree with that. I think that you should make all equine-based decks. And yeah, I agree with that 100%. Actually making proxies for Yorick right now. I'm so glad that you can, and that's actually a good thing too. When you want to make sure that when you're getting a deck, you like it. So getting a test run with a proxy filled deck is something that you should be totally good with. And hopefully your play group is good with it too, because you don't want to spend a bunch of money and decide that you don't like the way the deck plays. So give it a test run. And then when you decide you do like it, start buying the cards, make it your own, learn to love it, you know? Fire wanted to thank me for everything that you do. And my content is one of your favorites. Thank you, Fire. That makes me very, very happy to hear. People say they got to go to bed. People like my content. Thank you, Tony. That makes me very, very happy. I'm glad I could hang out with you guys. Jund is not a deck. It's a way of life. Been trying to rework my Rada deck. Any tips? Interesting. Rada could be good. I think the trick with Rada is balance. So you need to make sure you have enough enablers because you generate mana by having those low drop dudes, but then you need something to be able to get in, turn that into. One way that you can make it a little bit more reliable is make sure that you have mana sinks on board. Excuse me. So if you have onboard mana sinks so that you can still use Rada's mana, even when you don't have that big haymaker in your hand, that will help provide a little bit of balance. Charging Badger.deck. You got to have mono green haste. You'll have Suruk the Hunt Caller is the head of your deck, and it is all mono green haste spells. That is the Charging Badger deck. Pauper deck and card. My Pauper deck of choice is mono black. But that kind of went out of style a little bit. It wasn't as popular, but hopefully it'll get back into it. It used to be like the deck. Have you noticed that a lot of the decks that I love, that were my deck, used to be like the deck? Like Jund used to be the deck, and now it's like blah, blah, blah. Shardless Bug used to be like the deck, and then Legacy is completely in a different direction. And then same thing with Pauper. Mono Black used to be the deck, and now it can still play. I'm going to go with Oubliette just to annoy the professor. Even though he's not here and won't hear about this. But Oubliette is my favorite Pauper card. Just kidding, dude. Pestilence. Pestilence is 100% my favorite Pauper card. What am I even saying? London Mulligan for Commander. Yay, I played with it. I like it a lot, and it feels good. And honestly, most things that I play with, they just say go back up to 7 anyways. So a lot of people are just saying dude, just get a good hand. I'm not going to have you be on 2 lands if we're going to play an hour-long game. So yeah. Karlov of the Ghost Council is my favorite non-headliner from the precons. Yeah, it's a good one. I had a Karlov deck for a long time. I recently broke it apart in my Purge because it was too similar to my artifacts, my Mardu Artifacts deck. Good question. They say, when are you going to do the Commander deck tour? I usually do it every summer, and so I'm planning on doing it pretty soon, probably in late July, early August, depending upon real life stuff. And my Rourke Thar deck, I still play it. It's now grown instead of a $15 deck, just just like from adding a few still budget cards, it's been like a $50 deck or a $70 deck now. But yeah, it's still fun. I usually only play it at conventions because when I have been playing, I've been playing with like Josh and Jimmy and those crew. And even though it can kind of hang, it doesn't quite have the power level to do that. And I don't want to ramp it up. I like that it was a budget deck to begin with. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to answer a few more questions and then I'm on my way out. Oh, Mana Shark had a good question that I might have just gone right past. And it's the weirdest place you've played Magic. I don't know why I'm acknowledging a question that I don't know the answer to. Do you know what? When I was young, the weirdest place I played Magic is like literally in the backseat of a car. So like in the backseat of a car, trying to like unfold textbooks and like put them out. Like that was a weird place that I played Magic for sure. When I was also young, we used to play on houseboats. That's a pretty weird place to play Magic, especially because there's water everywhere. And then, yeah, those are, I feel like those are pretty good answers. They're pretty good. Sisea, yes, I do still have Sisea. Although I'm reworking it I wanted to rework it to have more Hydra synergy, and then they just came out with a Hydra commander, so now I don't know what to do. Favorite legacy deck and prefer online Magic or tabletop? I do not like online Magic. I vastly prefer tabletop, and my favorite legacy deck is, Shardless Bug, and that's my deck of choice. Good morning from Denmark. Good morning, Denmark. I'm a fan of your country. Let's see here. I've never seen a play group that lets people mulligan to 7s unless they keep. We don't trust each other enough. That's pretty funny. Let's see here. Ooh, Goofy Deck Jalera Master Polymorphist. I love that. Mono Black and Popper. Just got that great new removal spell. Yeah, I wonder if that actually moves it up in the rankings. I think that'd be pretty good. How does everyone feel about using proxies for cards you have one copy of? I'm pretty open with proxies for sure. We play with Vinny, who used to use like the staple binder thing where he literally had a proxy for every card, almost every significant card, and then pulled them out of a separate box. So I'm totally fine with those as well. Just do what's good for your play group for sure. DJ, I follow a lot of YouTubers, but you're my favorite. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Love my videos. Great personal insight. Thank you for such nice words. Thank you, Xeno Smasher. I always see you commenting. I always see you around. It's nice to see you and hang out with you right here. Smiley Face says, I played a game where someone's draft deck. I love it. All right, everyone. I'm going to call the stream right here. The second stream, by the way. This is stream number 2. I'm going to call stream number 2 right now. And I want to thank you so much for watching. Not only so much for watching the set review, but so much for hanging out with me afterwards, talking about commanders and talking about soup and talking about other stuff, talking about books and all sorts of things. Someone is bringing Urza to CDH events. Need a bunch of... See, CDH is a little bit different. As soon as you bring it to an event, like, then you have to be like, well, if I'm playing for prizes, I should probably have the cards that I'm going to do. And then how do you choose what to upgrade? With, that's such a hard question. With Urza, I really think that you need the Moxes. Yeah, I think you need the Moxes for sure. So Mox Diamond would be the first buy. Ugh, that sounds gross. Do you know what? Just make Urza yours and then upgrade how you want to. And don't worry about like meeting others' expectations. I love being on the command zone whenever I am on there. So, and I like hanging out with those guys. So, but yeah, I also miss off. Don't turn it off. Whatever. It'll turn into a mukbang when like I have to eat some food right now. No, I'm really glad that I got to hang out with you guys. Momir Vig. Oh man. Momir Vig, I have a Momir Vig deck and it's going to be on the channel. It's stupid powerful. It's so good. Mox Diamond should be the first priority, someone said. Yeah, Mox Diamond is super good and it's so expensive. It's gross. More soup videos. literally I'll have like 10 people be like, soup videos, and everyone else being like, why is this a thing? All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this hangout time. I certainly did, and I'm so glad I got to really just spend a bunch of time with you all. So thank you very much. And we're going to end this right at the 2-hour mark because it is 1 hour and 59 minutes. So I'm just going to sit here for 30 more seconds saying thank you all for being awesome, and read some of your comments because you all are lovely people, and I can't wait to do this again. I guess that's what happens when another set comes out. I do a live stream and hang out with you guys some more. So it's been a lot of fun.